Kamisa. Hi guys and gals. Again, I've got another short video here that hopefully we can give you a little bit of an idea of what you can do when you hear the little bit of whining, I guess. I get a little distressed when we talk about iodine. In my view, in my very strong view and educated opinion, every household should have a bottle of Lugols Iodine. It's just too critical and it's just too important. As you know, as most people know, this has been the antibiotic of proper choice for nearly 200 years. Antibiotics have gone way out of whack, as we all know. And things have gotten so out of control for so many years that antibiotics have just caused so much misery. They've done a lot of wonderful things. There's a time and a place for antibiotics, but keep in mind that by and large they're using fungal mycotoxins that pump you up like a loaf of bread. They cause autoimmune diseases. They cause all kinds of issues that we just don't need, especially for our babes, because they've got enough problems to consider as they go into the future. They're going to have a lot of things on their plate. We live pretty well in today's day and age with all the complaining we get from the news. I don't get it from the news, but most people. We live pretty darn well, but things are going to change. So we need to know what the tools are that we can give our children. And as we also know, obviously for children, this is critical for preconceptual development of the egg and the sperm and stuff like that. So we'll hopefully have a good video on soon on a good preconceptual health. But these are the two things I'm going to focus on right now. Is going to be the iodine, how to get it into your little critter's mouth, and how to use liposomal or lipospheric liposomal vitamin C. This is a brand that I really like. Of course, like anything else, I don't make any money on it, but it's just a brand that I trust. And this is Live on Labs, but to each their own. You decide what you want. I don't like the fact that it's got a little bit of alcohol preservative in it and soy, but it is what it is. When the going gets rough and you need something that's got some IV power, this is a way to do it. So the way I do it, Asia, she's a very healthy girl, but every once in a while she'll get a cough. So one of the ways we address it, of course, with the iodine for one, and with vitamin C for the other. Now, you always keep these, as I've said in many of my notes before, in my videos, you always keep these separate by a couple hours, but you can alternate these to great effect. So anyway, this is just a simple 2-ounce bottle that I use for various things. I got those spray bottles and stuff. I'll just cut that corner off. Put the gel in there. As I said, Asia has been a very healthy girl, and we would expect that. But she's had her issues, just like we all do. And so I just shake it up. Actually, you can put the cap on if you want, if your finger doesn't quite cover it. But for me, it's just as easy to put my finger on there and cover the hole and shake it up a little bit. You don't want to blend lipospheric because it ends up destroying, or at least their concern is it ends up destroying the molecules and how it absorbs. So shake it by hand. And down the hatch you go. Now for me, I do it a different way, but Asia would generally drink it just like that, and it's good to go. And it's got a fine flavor. If you had that alone, not so good, but with a little bit of juice in there. And if that wasn't quite enough, if they still make their little snarl, well, put a drop or two of stevia in it, if you have to do it. As far as the iodine, so again, keep these separate. It's not a danger, it just makes them less effective, because iodine, this is a major antioxidant, but Lugols Iodine, a solution of iodine and potassium iodide, is both a acid and alkalizing substance. Both very effective, both for, iodine's great for particular glands, and iodide is great for other particular glands. So the two together are a winning combination. That's why I never use iodine in and of itself by itself, unless there was like a scratch or some type of topical infection or something like that. But there's just no reason for me to keep that on hand when you've got something that hits all the buttons that are needed. So for us, if Asia's got a cough like that, and she's had it recently, we hit it a little harder, and I would take just the same thing. I guess I don't really have to pour in here, but I'll do it for the sake of, because actually the juice is pretty good. Simple as this. Let's say, the reason I put the book here, this Dr. Brownstein is, there's a lot of doctors out there talking about iodine as if they know what they're talking about. And yes, I'm not a doctor, and I'm glad I'm not, because I don't have that hanging over my head, especially in today's day and age. Dr. Brownstein, though, along with, there's a lot of great doctors out there, but I'm telling you, as we know today, that they've got, they have a lot of pharma hanging over their head often to do the right things. Dr. Brownstein, Dr. Abraham, who has passed, but Dr. Brownstein and Fleckus are some of the top iodine doctors out there, and he's got several iterations of this book. This is a phenomenal book. There are other good ones out there, but this is a great one I suggest everybody get. When I talk about doses and things, the doses I have done, and I've done for many years for, I'm going to say a couple hundred people by now, suggested, this is where I've gotten the information. I suggest you get the information, talk to your naturopathic doctor, and go ahead and get there. But as you know, Lugols Iodine is incredibly safe. They've used doses that are you know, tens of thousands of times higher than our RDA. And again, in Japan, just in their daily diet, they get 100 times, on average, they get 100 times what our daily RDA is. Kind of pathetic. But anyway, when you talk about your child's health, whether it's virus, fungus, bacterial, pathogenic bacteria, no, it doesn't destroy the good bacteria. Pathogenic bacteria, for me, nothing beats Lugol's and having that on hand. Whether you're on a plane or wherever it is, this is something that's easy to take along with you that does so many good things. And hey, if you get caught in the jungle and you got to have some fresh water, you got to have water that's potable, that's the way to do it. An old Green Beret friend of mine, that's what he talked about in Vietnam when they had to go through the jungles. They had their gear and they had their tablets of iodine, and that's why. So it's been good and it's effective, been great and effective for, you know, a couple centuries nearly. So anyway, when she's got a good cough, I'll use 3 to 4 drops, 2 to 3 times a day, and she does great with it. Now, as you guys know, with some of the videos that I've done, you know, people that have, let's say, the flu or other things like that, they would suggest, and I've done it very effectively, 20 drops a day, which is about 50 milligrams. And same with breast cancer or different things like that, that would be a minimum. Those are things that you need to consider. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not saying don't go to the doctor. I'm saying find a good naturopath, do your research from the best of the best, and get her done. As you know, when you have kids that are struggling in school and doing things like that outside of just being sick in general, we know that iodine is still the #1 cause of mental retardation around the world. So we know its effect on autism, we know its effect on mental health, we know its effect on health in general. And let's get her done for our kids' sake. Get it. This bottle here, now I sell it for 20 bucks because, you know, this is the only thing I do sell just because we have extra. I don't need to sell it, but, you know, locally, you can get this for 12 bucks. But, you know, for me, you get a little extra teaching along with it. But irregardless, this is something every household should have. And those 4 drops here, you get about 500 drops out of 1 bottle. Powerful stuff. So I'll end it at that. Super simple. It can be done in the Philippines. It can be done in the U.S. It can be done anywhere around the world. Send these things in your bulk buying packages and explain to your family how to use it and do them some wonders for pennies on the dollar. Okay? All right. Thanks, guys. See ya. Salamat.